Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about model calls. We're going to talk about specifically model calls when you are planning out your portfolio. So whatever that may be, you're still learning and you want to build your portfolio, or maybe you have like a hole in your portfolio and you really want to fill it with some beautiful pictures, like you don't shoot enough couples and you're always shooting families, so you want to do a cutesy couples shoot. Whatever the reason, whatever kind of shoot you want to do, doesn't matter. I'm going to walk you through how I do model calls. I do model calls and styled shoots pretty frequently. It's something that I have to do for me to keep myself sane. And then when I get an idea in my head, I really want to execute it. I can't just go, dang, that would be a cool shoot, and let it go. Like, it would never, that's not how my brain works. If I have an idea, I have to execute it like pretty quickly before I get bored. So, and then it just doesn't end up happening. So I do model calls all the time, styled shoots, whatever. So the first thing that you have to do when you are planning to do a model call is to figure out what you want to shoot. So if, like I said, if you have a hole in your portfolio or you're learning, you're like, hey, I really want to do maternity photos, but I don't have any friends that are pregnant. I don't have any friends of friends who are pregnant. So I'm going to run a model call and I want to shoot a really amazing, epic maternity session. So cool, you have your idea. The next thing that you need to do is put together some kind of idea board, and you can do this even just on like Pinterest, or you can copy and paste things. You can put things, save things and put them in an album, but get an idea of what you want to do. Don't just walk in blind. She says she got this dress, it's gonna look great. Don't. For a styled shoot, for something that you want to represent your brand, you have free reign to do whatever you want. This is your shoot, how you want to do it. So make a plan, have an idea of what you want to, what you want to happen. The next thing that you will have to do is choosing your models. So this is kind of where I think people get a little hung up. When it's your shoot, you don't have to take any shit from anyone. Well, I actually wrote that on my notes as tip number 2, take no shit. So what this means is you need to follow what you want to do. So if somebody answers your model call and they don't fit the idea that you have going on, if you pictured somebody with long flowy hair and that's willing to climb to a top of a mountain and stand there and be super epic, and the person that messages you says, oh, well, I have really short hair and I ain't hiking anywhere, don't pick that person. You don't have to settle for something that, you've put this vision board together. You don't have to settle for something different. So when I run a model call, the first thing I do is make a post about it. So the best place, in my opinion, to do a model call is on Instagram. I have the most, I think, feedback on there. I do have more followers on my Facebook, but Instagram seems to be a little more, I don't know, I get the most out of Instagram. So I usually post a post on my stories, and I make a post on my feed also. I give very, simple details because I still want to talk to people. I don't want somebody to count themselves out because I put too many details, but I usually put something about what I'm looking for. So I need a mom who's about 6 months pregnant. I want her to have long hair. If I already have a dress chosen for the shoot, this is the size of the dress. And I need somebody who's available on a weekday evening. So I put that in there because those are all very important things. So people will message me, I will talk to them. I never pick anybody right away, and that's another very important thing. You don't pick the first person who messages you. Even if they feel perfect, I always say something like, great, I'm just pulling everybody's information together, and I'll let you know if I choose you. So I never even really leave it open to, I'll let you know if I don't choose you. I will get back to you if you've been chosen. And I think that's important. A lot of people have a hard time telling people no, and I definitely avoid that altogether. I don't ever tell anybody no, I just don't tell them that they got it. But I have learned in the past, because there has been times where I'll throw up a model call and I won't get any replies right away. I'll be like, all right, great. Like, that makes a girl feel good, right? I'm offering free photos to someone and you know, nobody's answering me. So, you know, and especially when it's really specific, like there might not be anybody on Instagram right that moment who's 6 months pregnant. But I have made the mistake of, after it's been an hour or two, I'm like, dang, nobody wants this. And then the first person who messages me, I'm like, you're it. But then I get 4 or 5 more who maybe one of those would have worked a little bit better, would have fit my vision a little better, and then I kind of regret it, or I ended up doing 2 shoots that I didn't want to do because I told somebody I would do it. Right. So I'm saying give yourself a time frame. So let's say, especially like Instagram, so the stories are 24 hours. Post the story, let it run out, and then decide from who has messaged you what to do from there. Also, if I do a post like on Instagram, once the post or once the model call is filled, like once I have found my person, I delete it. I don't leave model calls up because let me tell you, I'll have a model call up. I had a model call up from when I still lived in Oklahoma, so 2.5 years ago. So it was probably 3.5 years ago. There was a model call on my Instagram and somebody actually commented on it 3.5 years later that if I'm ever looking for that type of model again, they would be happy to help. I'm like, no. So I started deleting them. I don't really leave them up because then that lets people know too they've been filled. Like if they go back to like, oh, I wonder, you know, let me read the details of that again, and it's gone, I feel like they get the idea that it's been filled. So my next tip would be to be very clear about what's going to be happening with the person you have chosen or the people you have chosen or whatever. Be very clear about it. So there's a few ways and a few times to be very clear about what's happening. So you need to be very clear about what they're getting. So you need to say, oh, you're going to get 5 pictures. You're going to get this, they're going to get out of it. So they are getting free pictures, discounted pictures, however you decide to run your model call. I do model calls for free because it is their time also, and they're trying to fit into this box that I've created. So I'm all about free model calls. I also don't offer a minimum photo, if that makes sense, like a photo limit. I give them everything I edit. However, I don't edit as many model call photos as I do like a regular session. So a regular photo session with me is a minimum of 25. I am an over editor like crazy, so people usually get around 45 or more. So, but a model call, depending on the vision, I will edit between 10 and 15 photos because I have a plan for them. I have like a blog post, or I have like this hole that I want to fill in a portfolio, or it's just an idea. Honestly, I've done a whole model call because there's one shot that I want. So like I have one shot in mind, and once I get that, that's it. But I will edit obviously more because their time is worth more than one photo. But you have to be very, very clear. So if you decide that you like 4 photos out of this whole shoot, they understand that that's a possibility. You have to be very, very clear. Like, you get what I edit. That's it. You don't get any raws. There's no reshooting. There's no, let me go back in and edit some more just for you. They need to understand that what you've decided they're getting, that's it. You are not going out of your way because they want more of something or want to change in something or whatever. They need to just go along with it. They've agreed to go along with it at this point. I also recommend a model release. I have not always used model releases, but a model release is a very good way to kind of map out what's expected. I know it's come up, it's never happened to me, but it has come up where especially like boudoir models will decide after the fact that they don't want their photos used publicly when, hello, that's why you did a model call, is so you have photos to share usually. And I'm not saying, so boudoir is definitely a different story. Again, it's never happened to me, but I have done, but I always, especially for boudoir, make sure that I have a model release. Them acknowledging you're taking these photos for me, I own them, I am going to be using them for advertising, I am going to use them for this and that. They get copies of all the photos that I edit, blah, blah, blah. It really is just like a mapped out contract of what's going to happen. But it has come up that people decide after the fact that they don't want their photo shared. I don't know how to answer that question. I feel like it would be like a case-by-case basis, something that you would sit down with them and maybe agree on some of them. I think the closest I've ever come was somebody who I really wanted to shoot answered a model call for Boudoir, and they just didn't want to be tagged. So I could post it all over the internet. They just don't want to be tagged in the photo, so they don't want anything linking it back to them. So somebody be like, dang, is that so-and-so? They don't know because it's not confirmed. So that's the closest. So if that ends up happening, I really don't know. I feel like it would be, but again, Boudoir is different, because even I've shot couple models, like couples, and they've broken up. I had somebody email me one time asking me if I could take that photo down because, you know, they weren't together anymore and it was a little weird. I think I had put it as like a banner photo. Well, did I take it down? Yes, because like, I don't know, like I didn't have to have it up there. I just really like the photo. And I feel like it, to some extent, like it's a little respectful. But did I remove their photos completely from my portfolio? No, like you go online, there's so few of them, whatever. So I get her not wanting to have it like the first thing people see when they came to my Facebook page. Like I understand that, but those are all very kind of not the norm. That it's very rare, I think, if that kind of situation happens. So I would say just play it by ear. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is people trying to change things, or, well, yeah, sure, people trying to change things. We'll go with that. I was trying to think of a name for this category. So people trying to change things, people trying to change dates, people trying to change wardrobe, people trying to change locations. That's not, so that goes back into being very firm with what's going on, but don't take no, that goes back into don't take no shit. Like this is what's happening. And if you don't want to fit into that bubble, then it's not going to work out. So I have a rule with model calls, like my number one rule, like that I live by. If you screw me over on like a model call, so if I'm doing something for free and involving you in it and you mess it up somehow, we're done. So like if I'm trying to think, it hasn't really happened recently, but let's say we have something planned, like we're gonna meet at this time, this date, this location, and you message me the day of saying, oh my gosh, we're not gonna make it. That's it. There's no rescheduling, there's no replanning. I'm done. Like that's the biggest thing that I cannot stand it. So like it makes me hot to think about it. Like having gone through all the planning and everything, I would rather scratch the whole thing than work with somebody who is disrespectful like that. And I'm not talking like something happened. I'm not talking like, oh, it's a family shoot and our kid is sick, or oh, this happened and my car doesn't work. I'm talking like, we already had plans on Saturday. Can we do this another day? No, we can't do it another day. As a matter of fact, I can't work with you at all. I actually had somebody in Oklahoma do this to me. They kept trying to reschedule, and at first they would reschedule kind of far out. So like, oh, you know, like, oh, I know our photo shoot's like next weekend, but like, I can't make it. Like they asked me to work. Cool. But we kept rescheduling until it got down to the day of the shoot. I'm like, cool, she hasn't messaged me, what's up? It got canceled the day of the shoot. I was done. All done, no more, it's gone. I'll find somebody else, I just won't do the shoot. That's it. And then this same person called me to do their family photos, and I politely declined. Some people might think that's crazy, but I can't handle, like, it feels disrespectful, if that makes sense. Like it feels, I don't know, I don't have any room in my life and in my art to be around people who make me feel a certain way, and that kind of person does that. So that's not worth it to me. That's not worth signing them up again. Like, she wasn't showing up for free photos. Like, once it was time to pay me money, like, I don't know, it's weird. I don't like it. You may feel differently about that, but I find it super duper duper disrespectful when you have something planned and somebody doesn't show up, or somebody wants to reschedule or whatever. Like, mad disrespectful. Okay, the last thing that I want to talk about is to not stress out. Obviously, I was just very mad about something, but in general, a model call or a styled shoot should be fun. It should be, you should be there and be like, oh my God, I'm so excited. Oh my God, like, this is going so well. Like, it should be so much fun. There shouldn't be any reason to stress out. Like, think about it. Like, really nothing can go wrong because you're shooting this for you. Sure, it might not turn out the exact way you want it. Like, oh, I had this great vision board, didn't work out so well, but it still shouldn't be stressful. There's nothing on the line at this point except for these photos. So sure, you don't love it. I guarantee you they'll still love it, but don't stress out. It should be so much fun. I actually make sure that I take time out. Like I think I mentioned it earlier, I take time out about once a month. I try to shoot something for me. Honestly, even if it's just putting like my kid in a beautiful dress and we'll go dance around in a field or pick some flowers, like even if it's that, I try once a month to shoot something for myself. It is so relaxing. You get kind of caught up in the business of things, especially this time of year, really busy. It gets kind of daunting. Like they always say, once you turn something that you love into your job, it kind of changes things and maybe you won't love it as much. I agree with that 100%. There are times where I'm just like, nope, this next weekend is off limits because I need to do nothing. And that's okay too. Do that. But model calls and styled shoots and things you want to shoot for yourself, I think is healthy. It kind of puts you back into why you're doing this in the first place. I don't know a lot of photographers, or at least a lot of successful photographers who are photographers for the money. It's definitely not a money game. It's more of an art game. So if you don't enjoy being a photographer for the art side of it and you're like, what's up? I'm gonna make all this money being a photographer. Probably not gonna happen, because you need to find the passion behind it, because it gets daunting very quickly. And if you can't take time to do things for yourself, you are going to become overwhelmed. You're not going to enjoy it, like any job. All right, that's all I have. If you have any other follow-up questions or concerns, or I said something that was weird, or you disagree with everything that I said, or you know, whatever. Also, please give this video a thumbs up, and I always appreciate a subscribe. That's all I have for today. Bye!